I have nature and art and poetry. And if that is not enough, what is enough? A pleasant day to each and everyone. I'm Unizel Estuanda, BSNet student, and today we will appreciate nature as a subject of art. As we had discussed, the subject is the focal point of an artwork. It can be the essence of the piece. Every work of art, regardless of its period in which it belongs, has a subject, the core of its conception. Everything that we are able to perceive, feel, or even hear in the environment can be a source of a subject. And it is undeniable that nature is one of those. Nature, in fact, is the most popular source of objective art and a good starting point of any artwork. Like if we remember during our childhood days, we drew flowers, mountains with the sun at its center, and rice field below with letter M on the sky, which represents the birds. Our typical go-to drawing when we were kids, and I think some of us draw like this up until now. Well, a great example of an artwork that made nature as a source of subject is the poem of Robert Frost titled Nothing Gold Can Stay. The poem goes like this. Nature's first green is gold, her heart is you to hold. Her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaves subside to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. Well, Robert Frost is one of the most famous poets from 90s. He wrote this poem when he was 48. And it shows metaphor of spring's ending, pointing out that everything in life is cyclical and that beauty in life only lasts for a short period of time. This depicts the transience or the temporariness of youth, beauty, and life itself. It has its message that even though life ends, there's a new waiting to come forth. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the Whitfield with Cypresses, painted by Vincent Willem van Gogh, or we could say Gogh, on June 1889. Well, if you had observed, Vincent was really fond of painting cypresses. We can see two of them in his magnum opus, Starry Night. In fact, he has three versions of Whitfield in cypresses. One is in Met in New York, one is in National Gallery in London, and there is a third, the smaller one, in private collection. We also can see a lot of cypresses in his paintings. The reason why he uses a lot of this subject is because below on his asylum room in St. Paul in St. Remy de Provence, a Whitfield and a cypresses are placed. He can see it every day. The reason why this has become one of his favorite motifs. Cypresses also symbolizes the cycle of life and death, and is called a mournful tree because it is planted on the graveyard in Western and Eastern societies. Then he find the thought of it really inspiring and at the same time comforting. Vincent saw nature and art as being inseparably linked and said that it offered him peace and solace. For Vincent, being close to art is a therapy. He once stated with one of his letters for John Peter Russell, his friend, on 1890, that he said, "It seems to me that nature sees to it that illness is a means of getting us back on our feet, of healing us, rather than an absolute evil." He also wrote a letter for Theo, his brother. He stated that if I felt no love for nature and my work, then I would be unhappy. Now, let us go to our third one, which is the last example of art. Can you hear it? Does it sound familiar? So, the third art that we will discuss is The Morning Mood by the well-known pianist and composer Edvard Grieg. Morning Mood is the first of four movements that make up the Prelude, Suite, number 1, Opus 46. A quick fact, Peer Gynt was published as a romantic dramatic poem about the Norwegian folk hero in 1867 and was staged on 24th of February 1876. Morning Mood was written to depict the sun rising in the Moroccan desert, and as we can hear, the alternates between the flute and the oboe made the music somehow magical or ethereal. Edvard Grieg composed most of his music. He said that he composed most of his music being surrounded by the scenic landscape of Hardanger Fjord. So a fjord, by the way, is a strip of sea comes into the land between high cliffs. So the heart of Grieg's composition was really inspired by his deep adoration of Norwegian landscape and its aesthetic value. It really shows in his delicate melodies, skilled harmonic plans, and emotional depth. Indeed, nature had really played a vital role in our lives. We are inseparable from it. From the air we breathe, from the food we eat, or shelter. All in all, we depend on it, and without it, what would we be? Maybe nothing. Nature is both all around us and deep within us, and is a great source of inspiration in creating arts. In fact, the artists, as I had mentioned, go to mountains, seasides, forests, rivers, or anything that is connected to nature just to have that inspiration, that magic, that sense of awe, and that feeling of serendipity nature really gives. So again, I'm Yuzel S. Wanda, BSNet student. Thank you, and I hope that you have learned something.